Hi, good morning everyone. Sorry my head is cut off, but today is a special day because the new episode number 2 on my podcast, What Like It's Hard, is up and Adam. So on this video, I'm going to chat a little bit before the episode, just kind of behind the scenes, and then I will show you the episode. Don't forget, you can go to podcastwhatlikeitshard.com and choose whatever app you prefer. I have my podcast on Amazon Music, Apple Podcast, Spotify.
When I'm filming podcasts or recording podcasts, I like to set the mood, just a calm mood. I lit a pumpkin spice candle. So this is my outfit, super comfy. I'm about to record, so let's get into it. So I sit down at my desktop and I make sure I have my research, my blue blocker glasses. There's some dog toys, sorry. And definitely a nice cup of water to stay hydrated. It helps me speak on the podcast and also makes me feel good. It was a little cloudy today, so it was perfect to stay in and just record a podcast. I made myself nachos. I am starving. I'm gonna eat this and then get back to work. So while I'm eating, I like to pop on something on Hulu or Netflix. I just put on Hulu and saw this series, Cruel Summer, so I figured I'd start watching it. It's super good. If you haven't checked it out, check it out. Doing my happy dance. And there's Luna. Hi! Okay, so I just finished eating. I am super happy and full and ready to get back to work and have so much energy. So I'll just finish putting up the touches to my podcast and do the editing, adding music, all the things, and I will post it. Okay, so I wanted to show you my website. If you click on resources, it'll take you straight to the current episode and previous episodes. So this week is Molly Bloom episode 2. There I will have a little sneak peek of the topic of the episode, and also if there's a movie with it, I'll show the trailer and also have a link to watch it for you guys. And I also put together a list of references where I got my research from, so you guys can look more into the topic, which is awesome. She also wrote a book, so if the topic has a book with it, I'll link it as well, so you can purchase it if you are interested. And there are buttons for all of the articles I got my research from. I want to mention on the home page of my website, if you scroll down, there's a little box for you to enter your email. I have a free worksheet for you. It will be a supplement to my podcast, so it's a worksheet that includes a guide to writing notes for the podcast, just something you can look back on and write notes while you listen to my podcast. It's free. As soon as you enter your email, it will be sent to you and you'll be a part of my list, and I will send you goodies in the email and you can just stay up to date. There are my podcast episode line updates also on my homepage. So definitely check out my website, www.whatlikeitshardpodcast.com. And she suffered a serious injury, which obviously pretty much ended her career / dream. Welcome to the What Like It's Hard podcast. I'm Jasmine, your host. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome back, or if you're new, welcome. Definitely hit the follow or subscribe button to stay in the loop with my podcasts. I finally was able to sit down. It's about 2:38 now. I have my coffee, and today's a good day because Starbucks started their pumpkin spice. So that means fall is coming. I'm so excited. So today's an amazing day. And I had a therapy appointment session this morning, so now I am ready to sit down and record this podcast. Today's podcast is all about Molly Bloom. She went from skiing training to qualify for the Olympics to being charged with a high stakes poker/gambling operation. She was running it and she got charged. So how do those things coincide with one another? We'll discuss that in this podcast. We'll discuss the gambling laws. We'll discuss where she's at now in her life. She's doing so well, and we'll just chat about it. So I have my Starbucks, so grab your Starbucks and let's chat about Molly Bloom. Okay, so let's do a little background about Molly Bloom, her life, where she was born, and her earlier years before the whole skiing situation, and also the charging of running a high-stakes poker operation. So she was born April 21st, 1978, and she grew up in Loveland, Colorado. Her father, Larry Bloom, is a clinical psychologist and also a professor at Colorado State University. And on the other hand, her mother, Char Bloom, she was a ski and snowboard instructor and also a professional fly fisher with her own line of clothing. So I could kind of see where she got her skiing influence from. She has two brothers. So her brother Jordan Bloom is a cardiothoracic surgery fellow at Massachusetts General Hospital. And then her other brother, Jeremy Bloom, was an Olympic skier and also a professional American football player, and he played for the Philadelphia Eagles. I had no idea about that, but that's awesome. And then Molly Bloom was a competitive skier and at the time ranked third for women's moguls skiers. She later suffered an injury. Okay, so what happened was she was training to qualify for the Olympics. She suffered a serious injury, which obviously pretty much ended her career / dream / aspirations to be in the Olympics, which is pretty tragic, pretty upsetting. So I can only imagine what she was going through at that time. She did attend the University of Colorado Boulder, and she graduated summa cum laude with a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science. And I know she was planning to go to law school, so we'll get more into that shortly. Basically, I see how her childhood, basically how she grew up. Her dad was a psychologist. Her mom was into skiing and snowboarding. They lived in Colorado. That's awesome. Perfect environment for that. And then her two brothers, very successful, one in the medical field and one in the athletic field, which she was pretty much kind of half and half in both, because she did go to college and she graduated of a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, and then she was also a competitive skier. So that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about what happened after she got injured while trying to qualify for the Olympics and what her next move was. After, that injury, and she just realized, her dreams of being a skier in the Olympics were pretty much crushed, which is very traumatic and very sad. She ended up moving to Los Angeles in 2004. She did plan to go to law school, but she figured she'll just take a little breather in between that tragic event and starting law school. So while she was taking that little break, she found work as a bartender, and she started bartending at the Viper Room nightclub. One of the co-owners was Darren Feiston. He was approached by actor Tobey Maguire about hosting a high-stakes poker game in the basement of the club. What Darren did was recruit Molly Bloom to cater to the players and manage the game, basically. So that's pretty much how she got. Okay, so she got her feet wet a little bit in the whole high-stakes poker operation from Feinstein, I don't know how to say his name, basically recruiting her to cater to the players. So she learned a lot from that situation. You know, she was beautiful, she was smart, she was the perfect person to do it. So in 2007, Molly learned pretty much every detail about running a game. She ended up starting her own business, and she registered it as Molly Bloom Inc. She registered it as an event and catering company so she can host poker tournaments. By 2008, the games had graduated to private homes and hotels like the Peninsula Beverly Hills, and hands were going as high as $4 million. Like, this was serious poker games. These were serious poker games. Like, celebrities, she had contacts that she held since the Viper Room. She had very high and wealthy people and contacts that she basically took them from the Viper Room to her own games. At that point, the hands were going as high as $4 million. So it did start with Toby Maguire asking to host poker games in the Viper Room nightclub. But in addition to Maguire, celebrities and sports figures were known to frequently go to the games, and some of them include Leonardo DiCaprio, Alec Gordes, Macaulay Culkin, Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Alex Rodriguez, Nelly, Mary-Kate and Ashley Olsen, Phil Ivey, Rick Solomon, and Andy Beal. Like, those are, woo, that's insane. Imagine being in a room with all of those amazing celebrities and they're playing poker. I bet it was just like an adrenaline rush. I can just imagine. All right, so let's go to the onset of the 2008 recession. The recession basically made underground poker games less common. In 2009, Molly moved to an Upper West Side high-rise near Manhattan's Lincoln Center, so she ended up going to New York. She started organizing games in a private apartment at the new Astor Place and Suites at the Plaza Hotel, which she used the same sophisticated dealing equipment used in casinos, and which were staffed by women hired from One Oak, an exclusive nightclub. However, Bloom had few contacts in New York, where raids on underground games prompted them to relocate to Long Island. As a result of this, Bloom attracted rich businessmen from Wall Street, but also more disreputable gamblers whose bids were significantly smaller than those in Los Angeles. Let's go to 2010, where she was served with a tax lien for failing to pay appropriate taxes on her New York events. It looks like her move to New York was kind of tragic. Like, that was kind of a risky move. So her move to New York, she was dealing with different types of people playing in her games. Now she has businessmen from Wall Street and also just regular gamblers who bidded less. So the games weren't the same as they were in LA. She was running her games in the Plaza Hotel, and so she had women she hired from One Oak, which is a very popular nightclub in New York. And so it just seems like when she was served with that tax lien for failing to pay appropriate taxes on her New York events, it was just due time. Like, it wasn't going well for her. Okay, so this is the juicy part, which is about her arrest and sentencing. In 2011, one of Bloom's games in LA was shut down as a part of a bankruptcy investigation into a Ponzi scheme run by Bradley Rudderman, which was one of her players. Okay, so Bloom received money from Bradley. Basically, she was accused of receiving $473,000 from his bank to settle his debts, and sued the bankruptcy trustee for that. Basically that amount of money plus $200, so $773,200. Molly ended up denying it, and she denied that she was involved with organizing illegal gambling. But bank records showed 19 transfers to Bloom in 2007 and 2008 for amounts up to $57,500. So it looks like the Ponzi scheme ran by Bradley just got her into that mess. It was just terrible. Like, he ended up owing her money, and he did transfer money to her bank account, from that whole Ponzi scheme operation. So on April 16th, 2013, Molly Bloom was arrested, and she was charged along with 33 others as part of $100 million money laundering and illegal sports gambling operation. So she wasn't the only one charged, obviously, but that's just crazy. It was just a huge blow up. So at the time, she was 34 and faced a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison, 6 years of supervised release, a fine of $1.5 million, or twice the amount gained from the crimes, or twice the amount lost by victims, and a $200 special assessment. Clearly, that was a lot of money, a lot of time in jail. She needed to find a lawyer, and she had no money to her name. They took everything from her. She had nothing, and she ended up finding a lawyer and ended up pleading guilty so she can get a lesser charge. She was eventually sentenced in May of 2014 to 1 year of probation and 200 hours of community service. So her lawyer, Jim Walden, told the court that Bloom was in severe debt, which included forfeiting $125,000 in poker proceeds as a part of the plea. He also stated that Molly had been ordered into the gambling business by her boss at Los Angeles real estate company, and then went on to create her own illegal poker game in New York in 2009. So this whole situation started when she moved to when she moved to LA and started working at the Viper Room for Darren Feinstein. She did write a book called Molly's Game, and it was published in 2014. It's her memoir about her experiences. And also, Molly's Game is a movie, which was an amazing movie. It's how I even found out about this story. It's just a really good movie, and it also received an Academy Award nomination in the Best Adapted Screenplay in 2018. So let's talk, that's her story. That's Molly's story. And today she's an influential speaker. She's doing very well. She's married. She is attempting to have babies, which is so exciting. She's just amazing. If you have a chance, go check out her Instagram at I'm Molly Bloom. And she just shares really good speaking moments, her life, very positive. And also she's very real. Like, as I researched her and her story, she's very she's very she's gonna do what she wants, and she's not scared to take risks, and if something bad happens, it happens. She'll deal with it and move on. She's very determined. So that was amazing. That's something inspirational. And so let's talk about the laws against gambling. What makes gambling illegal? What can you get arrested for, etc. So illegal gambling business means a gambling business which A, is a violation of the law of a state or political subdivision in which it is conducted. 2, involves 5 or more persons who conduct, finance, manage, supervise, direct, or own all or part of such business. And 3, has been or remains in substantially continuous operation for a period in excess of 30 days or has a gross revenue of $2,000 in any single day. So clearly Molly's business met all those requirements, which made it illegal. So gambling in definition includes, but is not limited to, pool selling, bookmaking, maintaining slot machines, roulette wheels or dice tables, and conducting lotteries, policy, boleta, or numbers games, or selling chances therein. Based on the information, Molly had pretty much the same high quality situations as any other casino So she had it in a private hotel room. And then the meaning of state. State means any state of the United States, the District of Columbia, the Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, and any territory or possession of the United States. If 5 or more persons conduct, finance, manage, supervise, direct, or own all or part of a gambling business, and such business operates for 2 or more consecutive days, then for the purpose of obtaining warrants for arrest, interceptions, and other searches and seizures, probable cause that the business receives gross revenue in excess of $2,000 in any single day shall be deemed to have been established. So clearly she was very established. Like I said, all of those boxes were checked in that situation. Any property, including money, used in violation of the provisions of this section may be seized and forfeited to the United States. So that's how Molly lost all of her money. It was forfeited to the government. She lost everything. All provisions of law relating to the seizure, summary, and judicial forfeiture procedures and condemnation of vessels, vehicles, merchandise, and baggage for violation of the customs laws. This law is very specific, and Molly definitely met all of those requirements for it to be illegal. All right, let's get more into gambling in the United States. In 2008, gambling activities generated gross revenues of $92.27 billion. That is a big business. The legality of it, though, is while gambling is legal under U.S. federal law, there are significant restrictions pertaining to interstate and online gambling, as each state is free to regulate or prohibit the practice within its borders. However, casino-style gambling is much less widespread. As of 2020, Nevada and Louisiana are the only 2 states in which casino-style gambling is legal statewide. So since Molly was running, quote-unquote, a casino-style gambling operation in hotel rooms, that made it illegal because she was running it in New York and also in California, and that is not Nevada or Louisiana. That's the story, so let me guys know what you think of it. I need a sip of coffee. What do you think about Molly's story? Me personally, like, she was very brave and strong, and she was smart, like super smart and ambitious. And yeah, she was charged, but she overcame it. She pleaded guilty. She got a lawyer. She did her time, and she moved on from it, and she learned a lesson. It was an experience definitely for her. Like, she met so many celebrities. She did so much, and she earned so much money, and yes, she lost it, but it's part of her story. And I just think she's very inspirational and a strong woman. Let me guys know what you think. Comment in the reviews. Definitely go on my website, whatlikeitshard, podcast.com, and under the resources I have a link to her movie and also a link to purchase her book. If you guys are interested, that would be amazing. Definitely give this podcast a review so I can know how I'm doing. I hope you guys love it. I'm excited for next week. We're going to be chatting about the USA Gymnastics. So if you don't know about the Larry Nassar case and the USA Gymnasts, then I will fill you in on that and the legality of the whole situation. I'm so excited that you guys are even here and listening to my podcast. That makes me so happy. Have an amazing week, and we'll chat soon. Bye.
We have some fabulous live music later on, but right now here's the kind I prefer.